Okay, CrunchBites, we're continuing the series of how to become a game dev from A to Z. Last time we talked about the portfolio creation process, not really going into how to make one, but when to make one. Now we're going to get into putting yourself out there and responding to inquiry. As in, yeah, your portfolio's done, you're applying to jobs, people are getting back to you. How do you handle that? This is basically everything between or before the actual interview process. We'll cover that next. Now this is you're applying for jobs. You need to maintain these contacts, the people you're in talks with, understanding the time of follow up, balancing out professionalism versus being bothersome. For me, I generally like to do the old follow up in a week kind of thing. Or in the other perspective of what about the people getting back to you? How do you respond to them? Being professional, being courteous. I'm just going to go right into Lee, and then if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
And then I'll do a little quick bit, and then John is just going to pull it all together. Go ahead, Lee.
All right. So when I was putting myself out there, I started. First of all, I made a Excel sheet, essentially of all the companies that I applied to, and then most of the companies, because they have web portfolios, online web filling out. I also put where I applied, what date it was, and then what time, and then when the email went out, just so I have a record. Because if you don't wait for 2 weeks, then you don't know how long you don't want to spam them and be really, really annoying. So that's one thing that I did. Another thing I did was I'm a big Twitter guy, so looking on Twitter, there's one really great Twitter feed called Game Dev Gigs, and that has lots of great resources. Like every time something is posted on all the major game sites, the main major job sites, it posts on there, and that's really good too. Okay, now I think I can't think of anything else right now, so let's go to John.
No, sure. I was going to throw out some quick things.
Okay, sorry.
About the whole anecdote thing.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of jobs where, you apply, and maybe you do an art test, and they don't get back to you. Oof, that could be a bad sign. Not necessarily, but it can be scarier than anything, especially if you worked really hard, and you just don't hear anything back. And you maybe you do a follow-up. If you're lucky, they'll answer you quickly. If not, this can be really it can be a mental drain. And it's the same way where I've had situations where I applied for a job, there wasn't an art test, but they were just interested in my work and they really wanted to work together. But then things happened. Internally, their project changed. They had to do some shifting internally. And you just got lost in the mix. You've got to be prepared for that. It's stressful, but as long as you maintain, like I like to maintain like a weekly follow-up. You set your day. Now John Jones here, he's going to get very specific, but I just like to look at the timestamps of the email I sent. And when it comes to job application, I have a few email addresses. One's my main email where I just chat and talk to people or get all my spams from websites and stuff, but I have my portfolio website maintains all my professional, like if I'm applying for a job, it goes through that. That way I don't have to sift through a bunch of emails. It's just the only emails I see are the ones for those jobs. And on the other hand, if you're using like Gmail, you can set up there's so many nice things you can set up that with starred emails. You can set up special folders where all those just go to that. Very useful things. I just want to send it right into John Jones because he really has some great info on this and some great ideas. So, Mr. Jones.
Well, thank you. So, I get organized as fuck. For those that don't know, I used to run my own business for 3 years where I was an art outsourcing manager as a contractor, which nobody had ever done before. And I had to learn how to sell myself and keep my shit organized. And I think there are a massive number of parallels between running your own business and doing business development and applying for jobs. In my mind, it is exactly the same thing. And I think breaking down that mental division of the idea of, I'm trying to get a job and I'm a biz dev guy, I think breaking down that wall would be productive because it's all the same techniques, it's all the same best practices, except that people that admit that it's called business development are a lot better at it and a lot more organized and a lot more open to ideas. So when I would be applying for jobs or trying to find contracts, Google Docs was my best friend. Every time I would send an email to a prospective client or employer, I would put down in a Google Doc spreadsheet their name, and I would track the contact dates. I'd track the first time I contacted them. I'd mark the position I was applying for. I'd track the most recent contact, the date I need to follow up next, and the status, whether it's an active job lead, a dead job lead, they're not hiring right now, if they'll say, we'll review your work, we'll be in touch, or contact us at this date, or no open positions, please stop emailing us. I would track all that on a spreadsheet so that I could send out as much as I can and hope that for every 10 emails I send, maybe I'll get one response. But I'd be able to look at this sheet as a reference and not trust my memory, because that helps me expand my reach and be able to commit important information to memory more because I'm organizing it this way. And I would track, like Chris was saying, every week I would follow up generally, every 1 to 2 weeks, or if they say, we'll review your work, we'll be in touch, I'll maybe give it 2. Let's say contact us in a month or 2, I'll write that down. But I would plan out my to-dos and follow-ups in Google Calendar and keep the spreadsheet updated. Live by your calendar. If you create a to-do to email this place that may be able to give you a job or give you money, and it's on your calendar as a reminder, send that damn email. And if follow up quickly and be on top of shit. This is... Thanks, Google. It thought I was typing, so it muted my fucking microphone.
You just lost like one word, so I think you're fine.
Okay, so follow up quickly and be on top of shit. It's your career. And this, if you want to research this more and really get into how people that devote their entire careers to getting business, applying for jobs, and getting people to give them money, this is customer relationship management, or CRM, and lead tracking and generation. Google that. Look up articles, look up information from other industries, read about sales, read about marketing. There are a million things you can do to improve yourself, and it'll make you look more professional, because most people aren't, and it's a mark of distinction when you've clearly taken the time to educate yourself enough to look professional and be smart and be on top of contacting people when you say you will. Specifically, contact people when you say you will, do things when you say you will. That tiny little thing builds up so much credibility and makes you look better than like 80% of anybody else that person will talk to. In addition to that, create email templates. Create an email template for an introduction that's a cold call. Like if you don't know this person, if you've never contacted them before, have an email template formally introducing yourself. Also have a template for introducing yourself if it's someone you know or you're acquainted with, that you have some kind of rapport with. Still be professional, but have it be slightly more casual. Have an email template for following up. Something along the lines of, hi, I applied for this position a week or 2 ago. I've quoted the email in my reply. I was wondering if you'd had a chance to look at my application yet. Have another template for if they say no and they're not looking for anything. If you feel like there's enough of a connection there, something I like to do is ask if they know of anybody else or could refer me to anybody else that might need someone with my skill set. Because if they say no, you have nothing to lose. And if you're polite about saying, well, hey, do you know anybody I could also help? That's not a rude thing to ask. That's actually really smart. And very few people do that. Very few. And always, always, always have an email template to thank them for their time and be sincere. Be brief. Say, thanks, I appreciate your consideration. Thank you for looking at my portfolio. Perhaps we can work together in the future. Thank you and good day. As far as LinkedIn goes, use LinkedIn to look for job listings, add your skills and keywords to your profile because people search for that. Connect to people you actually know and be polite and real and write out a request to connect to them and be a cool person. Make your LinkedIn good, but don't fluff it out. I wrote an article called LinkedIn for People Who Hate LinkedIn. Google it. It's the distillation of my years and years of using LinkedIn and seeing tens of thousands of people on there and the way I think you can use it better than most people are. And then, only after you've done all that, look for hiring managers and HR for companies where you want to apply, and apply through LinkedIn or contact them through LinkedIn after all the rest of your stuff's in order and it looks good.
Nice. One thing this really made me think about was a little bit different perspective. Just want to throw it out really quick. From the internal perspective, I have been in those situations where I really wanted to hire people, and yeah, we were getting follow-ups, and yeah, I liked their art test, but it wasn't me. It was the person above me. It was just stammering about, just wouldn't reply, and I would tell them, like, just reply, just send a quick email, just let them know, and they would just never do it. So you just never know the perspective. It might not be you, and it might not be the person you're talking to.
Exactly.
John, I know you've been hiring, so do you have any just quick insight on that, or any, without getting into any notes or thinking about it? Maybe a quick anecdote.
Sure. When you're applying for a job, you're either going, like, the first filter is going to be human resources, and they're going to be dealing with 100 people exactly like you. But of those 100 people, maybe 5 will ever send a second email to follow up and ask for anything. Of those 5, let's say 2 or 3 are just going to be clueless douchebags that are going to get washed out immediately. If you can be one of the last 2, and you can contact people when you say you will, and follow up, and be polite, and be professional, you're going to be the one person in 100 that can stand out. And you don't have to go crazy out of your way to do really ridiculous things to get noticed. Just be punctual, be professional, be polite, and spell well. But it's the same thing for an art director. If you get past HR to an art director, you're going to be one of maybe 10 to 20 people that HR is filtered through to give to the art director as somebody to look at. And the art director has, or art lead, whoever it is, has a crazy demanding job, and they have a ton of other stuff to do, and everything else is on a schedule. But they also have to review these candidates and do it and stick to the schedule that they have for this unscheduled task. So if you can be polite, be persistent, and just be cool and be notable, that'll put you above the rest even more. And the more times you try on a regular basis, politely, without pushing, the more likely it is someone's going to give you a second chance. And not getting a response is not personal. It's just that these people are incredibly busy, and no matter how well a company is structured, going through resumes and going through portfolios and interviewing people is not something that goes onto the game's schedule, so it's something else they have to fit in. So if they seem like they're not giving you a lot of their time, they're not a jerk, they don't hate you, you're not terrible, necessarily. It's just they're incredibly, incredibly busy, and if you can find the right way to kind of stick in their mind and stick in their periphery over time, your chances are going to be better and better. Don't be too shy, just make sure you're being polite and not annoying. But it's almost never personal. That's awesome. Speaking like for me and what I do. I feel bad that I can't get back to as many people as I would like. I just have so much shit to do. I know your people, and I know you deserve to have your stuff looked at. It's just sometimes my day-to-day schedule doesn't permit it. It's not because I hate you. It's not because I think you're a terrible person. But if you can politely remind me that you exist and be cool about it, that's a really good thing, and I actually genuinely respect that.
Cool. Well, Lee, did you have anything else to add, or are you good? Or?
Yeah, I just was gonna say, what's really worked well for me is sending going on with what John just said is on the email is sending a general application. So if you see the company is hiring character artists and you want to go for an environment artist, send them a general application. Say general application, put like character environment artist, and say, "Hi, I've seen this position open in your company. I'm an environment artist. This is what I can do for you." You know, like give them a general application, looking for if you have any future or current openings that are coming up, please keep me in mind. That way, that's worked for me because it's like, okay, well, we don't need anybody right now, but we'll keep you on file, which means that they've got you an email from you saying that you're looking. So that was just my one comment for that.
That's an excellent idea. Just because
absolutely.
they aren't advertising a position doesn't mean you can't try and, get on file.
In. Right.
But I would follow up far, far less in that case.
Yes.
Well, right on.
That's an excellent point.
I think we can wrap it up there, guys. I think that pretty much covered it all. Yeah. And again, always apply, because I've been in plenty of places myself where we just keep a lot of people on file and hope for the best. It's all right. We'll see you next time, guys.